Happy day. You're listening to Breath Play Happy Hour. Our intention is for you to learn and practice how the breath can guide you to wake up, let go, and shift your success and happiness in life, love, business, sports, and beyond. I'm your host, Roberto Suarez, better known as El Happy Coach. And so we're going to get started by taking a deep breath, relaxing, and transforming our life today with my guest, Luana Hervier. But let's start with a deep breath before we get going. We're going to inhale through the nose for 3 seconds, and then we'll exhale through the mouth for 3 seconds. We're going to do that 3 times. So here we go. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Let's inhale again. 2, 3. Exhale through the mouth. 1, 2, 3. Last time, inhale. Exhale. So Luana is my #1 angel in this whole world. And that's all I have to say, but I'm going to tell you a little about her. She's an international yoga teacher and yoga teacher trainer, an emotional freedom technique therapist, and nutrition and lifestyle coach, better known as a health coach. She's also an author of Luana Living, Nutrition and Movement of the Body and Soul. Great book. And I've heard that she's creating a second book called Self-Love. I can't wait until it comes out. And she's living in Argentina in some beautiful island that you only can get there by canoe or boat. And she's one of my favorite people in the whole world. So welcome to Breath Play Happy Hour, Luana.
Hi, thank you so much for this welcoming and for this invitation. Hi, everybody.
Yeah. So why don't we get started? How did you get into this whole yoga world, breath? What's your breath story? I call it, what's your breath story? How did you get to be a yogi and so powerful and beautiful?
Wow, it's such a long story, but
make it a short story.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to make it a short story. Before I want to say that you are also one of my favorite people in the world. I always tell you that. So I'm very happy to be here. I guess that it was when I was a teenager, and I realized that the way I responded to life was the same way life responded to me. So that was something very important that it was in my mind. I was 15, 16 years maybe. I started changing the way I ate when I was 13 years old. I stopped drinking sodas and eating junk food, and I started exercising a lot. And of course, I was alert and I was aware, and I started going to places to meditate. Nobody knew that, and I used to go by myself, and I started opening an inner world that it was very private, and I didn't know what that was. And then I started growing, and I decided to learn and to teach physical education for special population, and then Pilates. And then my sister once, she showed me one sun salutation, and I fell in love. But mostly I could recognize how the way I took and I decided to take every breath was very combined to the way I thought, to my thoughts. And of course that at the beginning, or maybe like my grandma, she used to say, okay, count to 20 when you're nervous, like don't say anything to your dad, count to 20 first. But that was breathing, because you were counting and you were breathing. So at some point we all know, and all our ancestors, they knew that by counting or breathing slow or taking a deep breath, you will calm yourself, right? So
Wow.
yeah. So that's knowledge that we all know until we talk about it, or until somebody teaches you a pranayama. But we all know that if we don't talk in that moment and we just breathe and don't say anything, because when you stop, like when you don't say something to keep the harmony in the place where you are, the person that you are in, you are breathing in that moment, and you're taking deep breath to hold that. But at the same time, you don't know that you're releasing that when you're taking deep breaths. You're not only holding it, you're really releasing it. So then I started studying yoga, and of course I really got into this work, and also with EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. But the more I practice, the more I fell in love with just each breath, and it's so spacious. It's so spacious, like the space that you can find between one inhalation and one exhalation. So it gets so much simpler that at the beginning you want to know like every technique and every kundalini pranayama and all these kind of pranayama and breath and breathing technique, and then you just realize that you have to be in every single breath. And every single breath, it is an opportunity. Like I take a deep breath in and I have another opportunity if I'm there. So I don't know if I answered the question.
It doesn't matter. You can just breathe.
Yeah, but I think that it's more about what we have to, and what I discovered is that if I'm there with curiosity to see what happens when I breathe out, like, what happens? Like, what happens 1 second before I did that? Or what happens when I needed to take a deep breath? Or what happens if I started breathing very short breaths? So I think that is mostly about getting to know your breath more than going there and controlling the breath. And we get so much information.
Wow. So you said a bunch of stuff. So first I had to tell you, like you talked about your grandmother, my grandfather, he will always say every day for lunch or dinner afterwards, he always had mi abuela come and bring him café con leche with crackers. And he would sit there and he would take like an hour to just be with the crackers and café con leche and just relax, And he goes, Robertico, you have to like relax, take your time, bite, calm down. So it's like, that's like that, like this knowledge that our grandparents had, that we don't have today. But
yes, and also they have that knowledge. Maybe they didn't know how they combine being present with the breath, and now we know. No, your grandfather, he was taking an hour, and maybe he was there like really mindfully doing that, and now we have to take that hour to breathe, to be mindful. So.
But you said also something about not controlling the breath, right? So, and the other thing is about being aware. You said about learning about the breath. We're always breathing, but it's not that we're breathing. It's that the breath is breathing us. We're not aware of it. And the more we can become aware of the breath, then sometimes we can breathe the breath, and sometimes the breath allow it just to breathe us, and then the whole relaxation part of it. So you can let go of anything that is in your body or in your mind or whatever. And through the breath and the exhale, you can, let everything go.
Yeah, but because the breath breathes us, and when we are there, you just said that sometimes we are there to take that breath, and sometimes the breath just comes in. And actually, the breath is the door to our, what's the word? Sutil, subtle, to our subtle bodies, right? We get there through the breath. So sometimes the breath comes, and and we don't realize, and that breath keeps us alive, right? But sometimes when we breathe that breath that is breathing through us. Claro, when we do that, we get into a space, and we get into a space inside of us that is subtle, that subtle place where we really want to go. When we say, I want to be at peace, I want to be with myself, I want to be united, I want to yoga, which is union, right? Your mind, your mind, your heart, your actions, what you said, and everything. But that happens in that place where you go and breathe when the breath is being breathed by you, or
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is there's a merge of the breath of the air with the energy or spirit, where you're breathing from the breath itself. So it's like having, spiritually, it's like having, the breath is spirit, right? So it's connecting to that spirit. And to be able to do that, I feel that you have to let go of your mind and just be, you follow me? And just be with that subtle feeling, which is spirit, it's energy. It's, and just being in that space. And sometimes that takes practice.
That takes a lot of practice. Actually, what takes practice is to know how the mind works, so that the mind doesn't get in that place or in that way. Mm-hmm. Actually, what we have to do is to learn how the mind works. So when a thought comes up, I'm like, I'm not that. Like, I'm not that. Yeah. I can choose. Yeah, I can choose to follow this thought or not. Yeah. So we really need to study, because we have studied so many things at school, and we haven't studied how our mind works, and we haven't study about our own feelings and our emotions, and how the breath can switch or change something that we are feeling, or how through the breath I can just observe what I'm feeling, and I don't need to react to what I'm feeling. I'm not that feeling. I'm feeling that feeling, yes, but I can breathe and I can stay here. So, yeah.
I have a coach, Dan Brule, who I feel is like one of the top breath workers in the world now. Like I always ask him, how do you get back to the connection to spirit, to that sense of consciousness that you might have attained through the breath or through plant medicine or whatever? How do you connect? He goes, just take a sigh of relief. I let it go. He goes, and you connect. He goes, but I've been doing that for 40 years. It's a practice. I had to change my habit, because our mind and stuff has a habit. So if something triggers it, you might stop holding your breath, or or you're not breathing. So in order to shift that, you have to practice. So you either have to practice movement, or you have to, whatever, like in sports or in yoga. If you practice yoga every day, by the end of a year, you're going to be a lot better yogi than when you first started, because you practice and changing. Same thing with breath. If you practice different types of breath and practice whatever, and then create your own technique. You don't have to, whatever feels good, but whatever helps you be able to connect. And what about, because here's what I'm getting from the breath, right?
Can I say something before? Yeah, don't forget that. Also that for every person, it's different, the way to get into that space, or of more emptiness, or that self-awareness, or that peaceful place inside, right? So there's some people that they just take a deep breath in, take a deep breath out. There's some people that we need more to move the body. For example, like I know that I need to move the body, and then my mind is much more friendly. You know? So what we need to know is how our own mind works,
Yeah.
and to
Okay.
see, yeah, and to negotiate, right, with the mind. So we can get into that. It's all the time the same thing. It's not all the time trying to find the peace, but trying to know how your mind works so that your mind doesn't get in your own way to your own heart and spirit. So yeah, so it's all the time learning that so you can let go more easily, because it's like another person that you have a relationship. So you have to get to know that person, what things that, for example, me, if I'm hungry, I'm gonna be like in a different mood. So if you know that I'm hungry, maybe you will ask, Luana, you are hungry? Yes. Okay, that's why she's like that. Or maybe I would say, you know what, I need to eat, and then we can talk. But our mind works in that way. So we have to get to know how it works so we can negotiate and we can learn what we can give or what we can say to the mind, or we have to do sports or whatever, so that then we can breathe, or we can do whatever we want to do in a place where the mind doesn't get in our own way. So for me, that's like the first and most important thing. And then we're able just to be there and breathe in and breathe out, and it's much easier. So most of the people and most of the people from the West, as I saw working and studying, is that for us it's really useful to move the body, so that the energy from the mind goes to the body. And when you use the energy of the body, and when you need to exercise or lift weight or do yoga or do something that really needs your energy, or maybe your concentration, yeah, like Tai Chi, for example, then you can go and you can sit into a breath work and you go much easier. Not for everybody, but for most of the people, as I have seen.
Yeah, that could be your third book.
No, I have a third one. I have a third one. I don't know what's the name in English. Now you can tell me. It's Cachetada de la Vida. I decided 2 nights ago.
Yeah.
What's the name in English?
I don't know. I don't know how you say that. La slap de la vida.
It's como
No.
un slap in your face of the life.
Yeah, yeah. But it's like, like how do you, you just explain how to be able to know your mind and talk to your mind like if they were a relationship. That's like hey, I get it. No, but the thing about, yeah, you have to be aware of your thoughts, which is your mind, and becoming aware of it, then you could say, okay, keep going, disappearing, and then shifting. The way I go about that is I either have people put attention out or attention into the breath, because sometimes it's real hard to be in your breath and in your mind at the same time.
Yes, yes. Or you can use your breath as a point to observe the mind, right? Like
Yeah.
I do that in meditation, for example. We are focusing in our breath.
Mm-hmm.
So what we can see the thoughts as clouds in the sky, or something that comes in, and you just let it go as you are saying that. But it's a path, right? It's not an exercise that you get the results now. Actually, is a way of living. It's a way of really, it's a way of choosing how to live your life.
Yeah.
And you choose to live that way if you have that call. And actually, I guess that we all have that call, because we all want to go home, and home is love, and love is God. So we all want that, knowing it or not knowing it. So if through breath we open up that door into our subtle bodies, into our subtle energies, that subtle energy is connected to the whole universe, the energy of everything. So in that energy is when we really feel that we are part of something. Yes, you're part of the wind, and you're part of the trees, and you are part of somebody else. That's why you feel connected to somebody else. So the breath is is the door to that.
Ah.
God.
So what would you tell a very young Luana when she was like 21 years old, right? That based on what you know now, what would you tell her? Like that person that's 21 or 19 or 15 that, or what would be like the one thing you would tell them to do differently or be open to?
I would tell her to trust in life and to trust in God and to put her attention in um, uh, really living for that, you know, like for her relationship with the highest energy that she feels, which is for me God now. And when I was 21 years old, so I was like, okay, you have all these things that you are worry about, just worry in your relationship for God, like put your attention in that relationship, and that relationship, it's gonna give you everything that you need, but not because it gives materially, but everything and materially.
Wow.
That's one thing. I have more, but that's one. But that's the most important thing. Faith.
Yeah. Wow. That's one way. You know, it's taking me I don't know, took me like 67 years because through the breath was to, you know, I always heard that the breath, you can use the breath to heal, right? To manifest, to feel better, to uh, shift your reality. But you can also have the breath take you on a magical journey, right? And that magical journey is like going through a funnel, right? And that funnel is all the ego stuff, you know, your pain, your thoughts, whatever. And if you can get through the funnel, you get into total consciousness, total happiness, total bliss. And to me, what you just said, that putting that tension there, which is really bliss, God, the universe, if you could get there, right? The breath can take you through that journey and get you there. And once you're there, everything works. You know?
Yes, it's the same that, yeah. We just said that if you open the door through the breath
Mm-hmm.
into a place inside of yourself, and
Mm-hmm.
then that tunnel through the time, through the practice, you
Mm-hmm.
get into a place where there is contentment
Mm-hmm.
beyond circumstances, right? There's contentment because you are alive and you feel alive, alive as the tree, alive as the sun, alive, yeah, without a reason to be content. And the word is content. It's not happy. It's like content. It's like life is enough for yourself. Like it's just enough. So in that place of contentment, we find love. Like we feel love because contentment, it's love. So we feel that love because we feel that everything is flowing and provided, and that energy is God. So you can either go through that way, and I would say to my 21 years old Luana, trust God, put your attention and your intention in that relationship. And if I would put everything was absolutely perfect, but imagine if I went through, because there's a lot of people that they go through God, and through God they find love in everything and in everyone, and they start serving from there. They didn't even thought about breathing, you know? And they went through God to love, to service, and then they just breathe and they are just present and they are just content. So there are many ways to go there. So I would say to my Luana, try the other way around. But I'm so happy, you know. Now I know there are two ways. So maybe you start serving, and through serving, you get into the third bell back.
Right. Yeah. Oh my God. We could be here all day talking different things. Now, so some of our audience out here, they're either business people or athletes, or they're new people that are exploring how they can use breath to, take them to another level of wherever they're in life. What what would be a tip for them? Like, somebody in business that is, especially now, let's say with the pandemic and stuff, that they have to pivot and do things differently. What would you tell them? What would be a tip that you would give them?
Yeah, first of all, I would say that to take time for yourself to breathe, it's gonna be so much more powerful than many other stuff that you already do. Okay, so that's gonna give you like the power of life, the concentration of life, and the alertness that you need to take a decision. Because when you are in business, what you are taking all the time are decisions, and you have to be very clear, and you have to be very clear to know if that's a fear that you have from childhood or from now or from another experience that you had in the past, or you're afraid of something that might happen in the future. So then you are deciding from fear, not from freedom. So I would say you don't need to take an hour. Maybe take like little breaks of 10 minutes, and you do break breath work in them. I love to do it in the morning. I'll do it in the morning. I'll put my intention for the day, and maybe in another moment of your day, you do it again. And please exercise, because that's gonna really help your breath work. And that's it. Know that breath work that you do is to clear. It's gonna clear your mind, like you clean your body when you wake up and you take a shower and then you go to work. Okay, we need to clean our mind, and actually through the process of doing it over and over and over and over, there's a bunch of trash that we have in the mind, the unconscious, in the part of the unconscious mind that gets out. So actually you're gonna be doing a really good cleanse in your own mind. So this is really worth doing it. And what we have to do is to start very small and to trust, just don't think that you should be doing something else. No, maybe the goal is just do it like 10 minutes in one moment, 10 minutes in another moment, and think that this is like washing your teeth,
Mm-hmm. Wow. Hey, you should take that tip and run with it. And do a lot of breathing. That was really good. That was really powerful. The first time I ever saw Luana, I saw the name. I was starting to get into yoga, and I saw the name in the schedule, and it said Luana. I have to go do the class with Luana, and I never met Luana. And I was sitting there in the yoga class, and I closed my eyes, and I was sitting there, and then I heard this voice come in. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. And I heard her voice, and I go, oh, this is an angel for sure. And then she got up there in front and go, oh, she started like the meditation. Then I opened my eyes and I go, oh my God, she is an angel. So we've been a friend for a long time, and it's, what, everything that she says today is so powerful if you really listen and practice, what you're saying. But I still have another question, that if you stepped out now to the future, like let's say 10 years from now to 2030, where do you see the breath world, the yoga world going to in let's say 10 years?
Not myself, but the world, like the yoga and the breath world.
Yeah.
I see us going in a beautiful path, because I have seen us, the world, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, when you couldn't talk, maybe like to a stranger person. Sometimes I always used to do this, like, how are you doing? Well, okay, what's well, you know? To a stranger person, like, what's well for you? Like, I don't know what's well for you. For me, well is content, happy, at peace. So what's well for you? And people, they answer like, no, everything is going okay. My son and my daughter, blah blah blah. So I can see that now people is getting much more aware of their own feelings, and they are getting so much aware of how the way they do stuff is the way life shows up for them. The way I show up to life is the way life shows up to me. So I can see that happening not only in people that meditate and do yoga and everything, but I can see in most of the people now, or in many people now, and every time I can see more people in that vibe of truth, you know, of not having to lie, and at the same time, as there are so many teachers now that they teach how to meditate easily, and not only easily, but in a light way, you know, in a way of, okay, you can do this, as I say just right now, like, you can do it 10 minutes and focus yourself that you're doing it, not what you are not doing, because you're not supposed to be doing anything else more than to do that. So just put all your attention in that. And if and as there are so many teachers now that they teach the way of, whatever you do is better of not doing anything, so just focusing doing. And I can see there's so many more people meditating and trying yoga, and men. There used to be a lot of women and not men, and now I have so many men, and you can teach so many others. So I can see a world where I cannot say most of the people, but a big mass of people, they are gonna know that they are in charge of their own life. And they know that they're in charge of their own life because they either met somebody special who said something, and they started being aware of the breath, aware of the thoughts, aware of the breathing, aware of their running. Maybe they run and they started breathing and running, or doing like a running as a meditation, or walking meditation, or standing meditation as you do. So I can see that through that awareness of, hey, the way that I respond to my thoughts, it's the way I show up to life, and the way I show up to life is the way life shows up to me. So then it's worth giving some time of my day to change my thoughts, to change my vibration, to change the way life responds to me. So I think that we are going in a very nice path as a world. Like, for me, this moment of the humanity is a really good and beautiful opportunity. And that what we have to do is to help and support each other, because if we really share is the world. If we share what we have, no one is gonna lack anything. So for me, now in this moment of life, the word is to share what you have, and to trust that if you give that, you're always gonna get what you need when you need it. So we don't need to accumulate anything. Like, if somebody needs something that you have, give it. Just give it, and trust that you're gonna get what you need when you need. And in that way, plus meditation, plus yoga, plus awareness, I think that we are rising.
Yeah, rising. Yeah, uplifting
the humanity, the consciousness.
Yeah.
We are new.
Yeah, it's uplifting the consciousness of all human beings. So in the, I'm more in the breath work journey than the yoga journey, but it's really yoga, right? But in the breath world, they're saying that the breath is the new yoga, and it's unbelievable what's happened in the last 10 years. Just like, remember when yoga just took off? So the breath is taking off, and then yoga is it's more yoga, it's more breath. And so that, you know, a lot of people say, you know, 10 years from now, what's going to happen is there's going to be communities breathing together.
Yeah, but why? Because first they calm the body, they calm the mind through the body. Most of the people got so much subtle, and now they can just sit down and breathe. That's why we do yoga. Actually, we do the yoga practice, like I don't know, an hour for what? To sit down and meditate without any pain and with your mind at ease, or the level you can, you know. So if we do yoga, we have been doing yoga and sports and everything through movement. Now our mind is much more at ease than before, and now we can just sit down and breathe. We don't need to do the yoga practice, you know. That's why you yoga.
Well, when you're doing yoga and when you're running and all that, you're breathing.
Yes.
So it's like being conscious with the breath and the movement and the whole thing, you know, like all the time, even when you're walking or, you know, it's
talking,
just being, it's being aware, like being aware how you're breathing when you're speaking, like right now, you know, are we holding on or are we loose? Are we breathing deep or are we breathing soft? Are we breathing through our nose or are we breathing through our mouth, you know? So the more, I call it awareness, relaxation, and then breathing, and then having the whole three, just doing everything.
The thing is that we are being made so perfectly and so mysteriously at the same time that if we just sit down in nature, we can see everything breathing, you know. And at the same time, we have this body, which is a gift, so that we can move, run, and do things. So I guess that through the breath, it's also a way that we communicate to that energy that has created us. Like, thank you. Like, I'm breathing in this body that it's a gift. And I can listen to someone. I'm listening my ears. I have, you know, and through the breath, again, and I'll say it again and again, but through the breath, we get into that subtle energy that it's the same energy that unite us all. So a breath is also a way of saying thank you. Like being aware of your breath is also a way of saying, I can
thank you.
It's a gift. It's a gift. Thank you.
Oh my God. That's why you're an angel.
And also, as we see the gift, is like it's less complicated, you know. Como life is less complicated if we know that we can go into that place where everything happens, and where that place that is empty and at the same time is full of possibilities. So the more we get there, the more possibilities we have, the more flexible our mind gets, because we know that it was not the way I thought. It can be any other way. I'm sure that anybody that is listening, you had that miracle moment when somebody knew what you thought, what you needed, or just in that moment that you needed something, someone came and gave you what you needed, and that person was a stranger. Yeah, of course, because actually when we are desesperated, or when we are in a moment in our life that it's either life or death, it's a moment when our mind cannot think. So you get into that energy. And in that energy, of course, boom, you get what you need. Why? Because you were not thinking.
Wow. What else can I say?
Slap in your face of life. Like the book. Yeah, so the thing is that I don't want whoever's listening to me, I don't want you to believe that I think that we are against the mind. No. The mind, I want to be the best friend of my mind, you know, or I want to calm the mind so that I can get into my heart, and my mind can trust that it's secure in that place, that I don't need to be running or fighting or attacking anything or anyone. And of course we need our mind, so it's mostly learning how to deal with the mind, or to let go the thoughts, so that the mind can be at service with the call of the heart, which is the call of that energy that we get into when we breathe.
So, so there's a few things there. One is to, where our true self, right, is observing. We are the witness of our mind, and we can play with the mind, right? And the other question I had for you is, it's not a question, it's the whole thing, that the most powerful mind that we have is the heart, right? And now there's more scientific studies and stuff where the heart has the functions of, of neurons and all that. And if you can have your heart be, in love and all that, that brings that energy into your mind, and then your mind opens and relaxes and is controlling. So it's like really getting into your heart space and be able to breathe into it, and through the breath, you're bringing in, love, you're bringing in whatever, being grateful, whatever it is, content. And then the heart is what's coming up into your mind and driving what your mind is going to say, right? So the more you can get in here, the more you be in that space that you're talking about. So that's.
So what's the question?
So the question is, what do you think? What's your feelings about the heart? The heart being like a powerful space to connect to through the breath or through everything you're doing.
I think that we all have to go through healing path, of healing our inner child. That's very important for me. And that has been a very great and a very important moment of my life, of going there, and in different ways with different techniques, going there and healing the inner child. And when we work on healing the inner child, and when we work with the breath and everything, and we get into this place of contentment, of innocence, right? Because the place and the intelligence of the heart is a heart that it's content, that it's innocent, that shares. It's like a kid, it's like that energy of being alive as a child. It's being alive as a child, but knowing and having the experience of an adult. So that energy, vibrant energy of the heart, it's so truthful that it doesn't need to explain anything. And when that energy is really vibrating and resonating, the mind is like, okay, I give up, because the heart doesn't want to fight, doesn't want to win. Like, the heart doesn't want to win. The mind wants to win, wants to attack, doesn't want to lose, So that's why the ego, it's always like, I want to lose, I want to be the best, or it's always comparing us to somebody else or to something else. But the heart doesn't want to win. The heart wants to be vibrating and sharing it, and sharing that energy. So what I realize is that when I get a feeling that doesn't need to be explained, or that doesn't need to be even having a second thought about it, like, we don't need to argue about it. Like, it's the truth. Like, you are completely secure and sure about what you feel. Then I allow that energy to get into the mind. And I would say to the mind, okay, we are sure about this because I feel it and the whole body feels it. Actually, there is a word that it's congruency.
Mm-hmm.
See? So congruency, it's the way we feel. It's like the whole body, it's um, agrees with what our heart feels. So that energy cannot be argued by the mind. So I let that energy to run my mind and to go up, and I say to my mind, I'm sure about this. So let's see how we do it. And you know that you are afraid of, or I know that maybe this is more convenient to you, but if the whole body feels something, maybe we'll have to give it a try. So through these years, with very small things, I let it the heart to run the mind, and I started trying and trying and trying and trying. And of course, that from a place of contentment, you are get more content. From a place of fear or of anger, you're not gonna get into a contentment place. You know, that's what our mind thinks. Like, I'm angry, or I wanna control something for something to happen, or to do something so something doesn't happen. So from that place of control, you're not going to get into a content place. You're going to get into a content place when you can trust. So from the heart, with very small actions, trusting the whole body, because also we have a brain in our intestines. So really trusting, really trusting the whole body, and letting our mind be run by the heart.
Wow. Okay. So now I got three months. I learned something today. But I got it. I got it. That's great. I hope everybody got what you just said. That's awesome. So anyway, Luana, I love that you were available today to talk to all the audience. But before closing, is there, when is your new book coming out, or is there any major events? I know with all this pandemic and all this stuff, you know, tell people like they can get a hold of you, or, you know,
So
follow you, buy your books.
yeah, the thing is that all the contact that I'm doing right now, it's in Spanish. So you have to,
That's right.
yes.
Yeah.
So it's in
Hey,
Spanish.
and you did really, you were like also big, like
So you have to learn Spanish or know Spanish, but you're gonna get the energy through anything that I do beyond the words, because that's my intention. So you can find me in Instagram, in Facebook as Luana Hervier, and I have actually a program which is called Self Love, and we do yoga and meditate, and we have healthy eating, and also I have done some cards that actually we can take now, one or another day, and it's a deck of cards, and we work with those cards, and every week we work with a new habit of self-love. That's in Spanish, but you can all come, and I would love you to come too, and to take the classes with me. And I'm doing things all the time. And you can also get my book, Luana Living. But you can just write me. You're going to find me very easily with my name. And I'm so glad to be here. And I'll also do EFT, which is emotional freedom technique. And that we can do one-on-one. Okay, so you can contact me and we can do it. And we will do it in English, not in Spanish. So don't worry.
So that's awesome. And is there anything else that you think that they can benefit, anybody can benefit? Is there any breath technique that you can give them, or anything that they can take with them? Something simple.
I think that I would repeat something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can do what we did with Roberto at the beginning, inhaling in 3 times to breathe in, exhaling in 3 times to breathe out. And you can put your alarm clock in your cell phone, and you can do that for 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And when the alarm clock uh, it's ringing, you just turn it off, and with your eyes closed, you just take a moment to be grateful for everything that you are grateful for every day. And so you take that moment to breathe and to say, I'm choosing to be aware, I'm choosing to be here. I really want to connect into that place of mind where I can feel content beyond circumstances and I can feel at peace. So just by showing up, you are putting your coins in your bank account of peace, you know. So you just do that for 5 minutes. You take a moment to be grateful, because when you are grateful, you are changing your energy. You're changing your energy, because depending on your thoughts and in your words, you switch your energy in a bad mood or in a better mood. Okay, when you are grateful and when you appreciate, your mind and all your hormones, they get another message. So in that moment, you switch your energy, you're grateful for, you can realize and appreciate how many things you do have and you are already. So that's the moment for that. And then you put your intention for the rest of the day. So that would be something maybe of 10 minutes in the morning. And then at night before going to sleep, the last thing that I would say for you to do is to find the top 3 more magical or important or loving things that happen to you during the day, so you appreciate what happened. And if you can do that every single day, you're gonna find many more miracles throughout the day, and you're gonna realize that you are a miracle maker for somebody else, so
Mm-hmm.
that somebody else at night goes and says, "I thank you, Roberto. Today I got this message, or I got this." So be a miracle maker for somebody else
Mm-hmm.
and do that practice in the morning and at night.
Wow. Thank you for that. So, okay, one of my miracles today was having a podcast with Luana.
Oh, I want to a miracle.
That was great. So, lastly, I just want to tell everybody to, what was your biggest learning from this episode? Share it with us in Facebook. And we always welcome any feedback or suggestions you might have to make this podcast more awesome. So remember, breathe happy, live happy. We love you, Luana.
I
And
love you.
say hello to Argentina for me.
I
And
will. Thank you for being my miracle today.
yeah, we'll see you. Ciao.
Ciao. Thank you.
I think I ended it. No, and recording.